Alrighty, got a lot today. Guys. A lot to go over. We're gonna start off with a little bit of fun here. I saw this yesterday, and I say that have a little bit of fun. It's really not funny when you come to think of it. It really isn't. I talked about this, last week. I talked about Baltimore, and I could say the same thing about New York and how, quite frankly, I'm embarrassed. It's embarrassing. It's the United States of America. I want to be proud of my country. How am I going to take pride? Take pride when I see what's happened in Baltimore, when I see what's happened to New York, and we discussed that. Again, in the same sense, and I'm going to be an equal opportunity basher here. And again, full disclosure, I voted for Donald Trump twice. Didn't care for the guy. Liked some of his policies, not all of his policies. But yeah, did it embarrass me a little bit, the way he conducted himself and the way that he acted? Yeah, it did. Just as much as we got this current guy here. Yesterday, you couldn't make this stuff up. Joe Biden tweets this out. Now, he didn't tweet it out. His peeps did. He's got people handling his social media account, unlike Donald Trump, who just fired away at all hours of the day. So he puts out a meme. I wonder if that's in the Constitution. You have the right to bear memes. Puts out a meme here. For American families looking for a little more breathing room, these savings matter. So they got the picture. They got a little White House at the top. At current prices, the average driver will spend, and you got a circle here and you got a circle there, $35 less per month for one person. Yeah, I said that right. Person. P-E-S-O-N. They spelled person wrong. Or $70 less per month for a family with two cars than they would if gas prices stayed at their peak. So again, they're actually trying to take credit for gasoline prices coming down, which is just patently absurd. Meanwhile, they told you they had nothing to do with the prices going up. Nothing. And they put out a meme and they can't even spell person correct. How many people? How many people does Biden have on his social media staff? I bet you it's north of 50. I bet you got north of 50. Sorry, if you went to an Ivy League school, Ivy League weenies. Okay, working on his little meme team, his social media thing. And this is what they come up with. Couldn't make it up if I wanted to. Got to mention this. I had this email to me from one of my listeners, like, Chris, did you see John Oliver on HBO this past weekend? I don't watch a show. Even I've seen some of the bits that he's done. Sometimes he's funny, and sometimes I just think he's patently absurd when it comes. He's definitely a far left-wing guy, but again, he's talented, and obviously his writers are talented to some degree. Man, he went after Jim Cramer. He went after Jim Cramer on his program, and it was funny. He called Cramer here. Jim Cramer. The answer to the question, what if a garbage can full of cocaine and business school pamphlets wish to be a real boy? It's kind of funny. But anyway, he was talking about Cramer jumping up and down. It's not till 6 months ago. 6 months ago, he's on TV like he's some sort. I think that, again, he thinks that he is so powerful that he can just move the entire economy and markets just by the things that he says. I'm not kidding. I think in the back of his mind, he's got that little bit of a complex. He does. And he's out there. And he wanted it to be true. He wanted it to be true. He didn't want inflation to be sticky. He was banging a drum. No, this is really, Jay Powell's got it right. Inflation is transitory. I'm going on Fox News. I'm on Bartiromo's program, arguing with people there. It's transitory. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. You can't just wish it away. You can't. You can't just wish it away. It has to go through a process. And again, Cramer's now, Powell needs to raise by 100 basis points. He has become an inflationista. Now, other side of the coin. I get it. You can change your mind, but it's a little bit more than that, because this is the same guy that'll come out and, have politicians speak to politicians and praise them for all of their government spending and nonsense that's out there. Again, you never know where the hell this guy's coming from. But anyway, here is a interesting numbers here when it comes to automobiles. We talked about automobiles and the market that still is with us now when it comes to cars. And I've never seen it in my entire life. Never seen it in my entire life. It is still the worst time to buy cars I've ever seen. Worst time. If you can put off buying an automobile, do it. Do it. Sometimes certain, if you've got a loyalty program, you've bought from a certain dealer before, they won't mark it up above it. But again, it's not a good time. You got to take a look at some of the numbers. See, again, cars, again, as far as financial, it's a depreciating asset, right? Depreciating asset, unless you're spending $1 million on a Ferrari. Okay? Depreciating asset, not anymore. New and used cars, new vehicles rose. This is year over year, 11%. Used cars, 7.3%. But let's put this in a little bit easier to understand. We'll paint a picture here. 2 years ago, the average new car was $38,000. The average used car was $20,000. Now, average used car, average new car, 50 grand. Average used car, 31 grand. That's up 24% and up 35%. Yeah. Again, I'm seeing this too. You're noticing that a lot of dealers now are actually offering, purchases for cars out 72 months. And you're not seeing often that 0% interest much anymore that you were seeing before. Again, people, it's going to flip. We talked about how repos are starting to tick up. It's a reality. And once we see more of these cars come back on, we'll see a major correction in the auto market. It's not going to happen overnight, but I definitely say within the next 12 months. Anyway, I'm so sick and tired seeing stories like this. Column, this is CNBC. The numbers show the U.S. economy is at least teetering on a recession. Yeah, teetering on a recession. Does it really matter? Again, I talked about splitting hairs. Does it really matter? Teetering, whether we're in one, whether we're out of one. You know what the interesting thing is? I found this out here. The National Bureau Economic Research, supposed to be bipartisan economists, whatever. They basically decide. They're the ones that decide whether or not they pore over data. Can you imagine being a part of this group, poring over this data? Oh my God. You talk, I'm sorry, you members of the NBR, you people that do, people got to get a life. You got to go do something else. I'm saying, I don't be mean. I don't know what they're paying, or maybe you're making good money to look at this stuff. But again, what's the point? What's the point for what actually you do? One way of thinking about it, they give the weather report for last week. Okay. They do. It's interesting. In 2000, it took the NBER 15 months, top economy, 15 months to declare a recession, by which time the downturn was long over. Again, it's, your doctor telling you you're sick at your funeral. Really? What's the point? Okay. Again, it's just like shark attacks, for crying out loud. They're trying to keep you tuned in to all this nonsense, the next big scare out there. They can't do it with COVID anymore. They got to get you tuned in to something else. And it's now Recession TV, Recession on all the time. Donald Luskin, this is an interesting piece. He's got a different take. We got the Fed meeting today and tomorrow. They're going to decide on interest rates, and they've already signaled that it's going to be 75 basis points. And again, at this point in time, I don't even know if it's necessary. I ain't kidding. I don't know if it's necessary. Based upon what I'm seeing in the economy's holding on, but prices for certain things are starting to come down. So commodities, gas, whatever it may be. Will it do anything? Will raising by 75 basis, will it do anything? You know, Donald Luskin's piece, and I'm a fan of Donald Luskin. He had this great line back in the 1990s. He actually had a website. His website was, I don't even know if he still has it, poorandstupid.com. And he called it out there. This is what happens is that the conspiracy to keep people poor and stupid. And oftentimes I think that's what most best business networks, Wall Street and others like you in. They like to keep people poor and stupid. It's easier for them. Anyway, he talks about, Paul Volcker in this piece and why Paul Volcker raised rates and why it is different this time. The Fed, and I'm just saying the Fed caused inflation. The Fed didn't cause inflation. That's like saying, the credit card puts you in debt. No, the credit card didn't put you in debt. You put yourself in debt. You used the credit card, but the credit card didn't do it. Fed, for all intents and purposes, is the government's credit card, isn't it? You want to take a look at the monetary supply, M2. That's what Luskin discusses in this piece. And it was driven up by Congress. It was driven up by donkeys and elephants. Yeah, we're spending on the pandemic. One package after another package after another package. How many rounds of stimulus? Extended, enhanced unemployment benefits, refundable child tax credits, paycheck protection program. M2, $6 trillion. $6 trillion. The Fed didn't do anything. Wasn't them. But his point is that just based upon the fact that we're not having this anymore, it's working its way through the system. And Luskin contends that by next June, inflation should drop quite a bit and the money supply should come down. Again, it's all theory, but he makes some really good points here. And again, it goes to what I've had to say. The administration, they completely punted on inflation. They don't want to deal with it at all. They're saying it's the Fed's job. No, you could do a myriad of things to increase supply here in this country, make it easier for businesses to build and create, put a little bit of certainty in when it comes to the tax code, help when it comes to we don't have an energy policy here in this country. We really don't. There's no energy policy. It's all about, what is it? Greta Thunberg climate policy is what it is. We got no plan for anything. And obviously we're lucky that we're blessed with all of these natural resources where other places just don't have them, but we're not utilizing them. It was interesting. I mentioned this before. West Virginia having more natural gas than Russia. They just can't do anything with it because they won't let them build a pipeline. Europe just announced today that supposedly they got every single nation agreeing to cut their gas usage down, natural gas usage by 15%. Vladimir, he slowed down the pipeline from 40% to 20%. Now, do I think that all of these European Union countries are going to comply? Probably not. Probably not. They probably won't. But again, what a great opportunity. What a great opportunity. Get the natural gas out of the ground, put it in a pipeline, get it out to the coast, liquefy natural gas, start selling to Europe. Novel concept, right? Anyway, moving on. This is interesting. Talk about the Great Resignation, why people are quitting their jobs. There's a story the other day talking about still people having difficult time finding work and people not showing up for jobs. And there's a restaurant I got word of that was back up where I went to school many moons ago, shut down. The owner's just like, listen, we can't staff the place. I can't do this. Can't do this anymore. And people throwing their arms up in the air. And I think we've all been there, been out to restaurants, whatever it may be. And you're like, where's the staff? Now, again, I have a great deal of patience because, again, I used to wait tables and bartend, all that stuff. So I get it. But it's interesting here. Why people, this is a Statista thing, why people are quitting their jobs. 41%, lack of career development and advancement. You do understand. Okay, this is the thing. I get this through people's heads. When you're starting out, and you are flipping burgers or you're on the fries or you're washing dishes, you're building up skills. And if you pay attention, you're learning how a business works, pay attention what's going on. And believe it or not, those skills can lead to other things. It's, again, the old Louis Anderson, the late Louis Anderson, Coming to America, where he's there, talking to Akeem and Simi, and he tells him, I was like you guys, I was mopping floors, now I'm on lettuce. Soon I'll be on fries. Next year I make assistant manager, and that's where the big bucks start rolling in. It's a process. People, I don't know, a lot of you younger people out there that are having this problem that you think that you're entitled to be a boss man right away. Doesn't work that way. Not 36% inadequate compensation. That's why they're quitting their jobs. Well, what do you do? What are these people doing for money? Uncaring, uninspiring leaders, 34%. If you got uncaring, uninspiring leaders and managers, I would look at that as an opportunity to replace them. Again, I've told this to my kids. I told it to kids that I coach. I've told it when I give speeches to young people out there. Every job, everything that you do in life, you treat that job, you're working for a business. I don't care if you're washing dishes. I don't care if you're on fries. You think to yourself that you own that business. In essence, you treat it like it's your own, like you're a business owner. It's not going to take long, especially now, for advancement. If you don't think that you're going to get noticed, you will, and you'll do very, very well. Anyway, unsustainable work expectations. They're asking you for too much. 29% say that's why they're quitting. Unreliable, supportive colleagues, 26%. Lack of workplace flexibility, 26%. Lack of support for health and well-being. Oh, give me a break. Come on, honestly, stop being such a bunch of kitty cats, for crying out loud. I mean, please. Anyway. Let's get into Walmart and their numbers. Everybody was flipping out yesterday, late in the day. They pre-announced that things are not looking good. They cut their quarterly and full year profit guidance. Inflation is causing shoppers to spend more on necessities such as food and less on items like clothing and electronics. Okay, in other news, sky is blue, water is wet. This is news. This is new. News to who? Come on, people. I mean, we all know that this is the case. Now, the reality is that Yeah. Are they going to be taking in money from people buying groceries? Yeah, but it's a lower margin business. You make more selling clothes, you make more selling electronics than you do selling food. So this is obvious. And also Walmart had some issues with the inventory that it's had on hand. Retailers right now are really difficult to get your arms around. They really are. I was blown away. I went to a Best Buy yesterday. Went to a Best Buy. It was a different one that I normally go to. However, both of these Best Buys are no more than 10 miles apart here on Long Island. And I went in there and I'm like, there was nothing in the store. There was nothing in there. The irony is that the thing that I was looking for, a small microphone that I could travel with. It's about this big. So guess what? And when I'm on vacation, I can do some podcasts for everybody. Anyway, neither here nor there. There's nothing in there. There must have been 2 people working in the store. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I couldn't believe it. And again, I'm saying to myself, I don't know what type of lease to have. Some of these retailers, especially ones like electronics, like Best Buy. All right. How many times do people go to Best Buy in a week? Huh? How many times? Do you really need 2 stores within 10 miles of one another? Wouldn't it be a little bit better to shut the one down, move all the inventory to the other place, move the workers over to the other place so you actually have some people within the store that can help you? A lot of these people that are involved in retail, and that's why I said I'm very careful when it comes to retailers, because again, oftentimes, and I've seen this throughout my history, the retailers out there, they get the CEOs get their egos. They stay stroked by the Wall Street guys that tell them to go out and borrow money and you got to expand and you need to have a Victoria's Secret every other block in Manhattan. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay, you don't need to do that, or they convince these retailers to get into some ridiculous merger, whatever it may be. Anyway, so across the board, all the retailers are getting hit right now, and it's going to be. I'm curious to see who's managed it better than others. I mean, Target already warned about the inventory problems. They did this about 3 months ago. Walmart says it's going to get its stuff out the door, and again, it's going to adjust. It's going to adjust. It's going to have to, and it'll come around. I think it was pre-market was down about 8%. Still, that's not where it was back this past June. We'll see where it happens. I want to touch on this. I mean, we talked about Netflix last week and streaming. Again, this past weekend, I was spent a lot of time on the treadmill. Yeah, the little hotel that didn't have much weight. I spent some time on the treadmill, and I was watching this new Netflix blockbuster, $200 million movie. I don't even remember. Gray Man was the name of the movie. This spy movie. It had Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. Now, again, this is my bit of a warning when it comes to Netflix. Netflix better make some serious changes when it comes to programming. I don't know who the hell. And again, this to me is, the board of directors. I'm firing the CEO. Who the hell greenlights a $200 million movie with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans? It's not Tom Cruise. It's not Tom Cruise. All right, Chris Evans. He made a ton of money, shit ton of money, but it was because he was Captain America, not because it was Chris Evans. It was a Marvel movie, for crying out loud. It wasn't that the movie was bad. It was basically one of my favorites from the 80s, Commando. It was basically a updated version of Commando. Same basic idea for the most part, except they did it in all these fancy pants locales all over the world. $200 million on this. They want to make it a franchise. I don't see it. I don't see it. Again, it's going to be a Netflix problem. Your content is key. And they got one more season of Stranger Things. That's it. What's next? Anyway, we'll get into this, and I'm going to spend some more time on this on the weekend program and delve into this a little bit greater detail. There's more and more stories out there. Woe is me. Woe is me. This is a horrible situation. Upper middle class is getting squeezed. A story in the Wall Street Journal. And I'm gonna save a lot of this for the big weekend program. Remember Sopranos, Tony Soprano? Tony Soprano was complaining. He was complaining to Dr. Melfi about, all the whining and complaining that people do. And, he was talking about Gary Cooper and John Wayne, a strong, silent type. And I'm reading these stories about people. You talk about, first world problems. They're dealing with little bit here and there, and the whining and complaining that's going on. Take a look, a couple steps back and try to see how lucky we all are, despite all of the things that we talk about here on the program. Do you have any idea what it's like in other places, even Europe, for example? Well, you think it's so easy to go out and find a job, a career? You know what they're paying over there? Do you take a look at some of the economic numbers in some of these countries over there? You can fall out of bed and you can be a complete nincompoop and you can get a job in the United States right now. Again, something I've never seen in my entire life. Never seen. Oh, gee whiz. My income is getting hit to some degree. I'm upper middle class. I don't know. Work some extra hours, take on deal. Stop your bitching and moaning and complaining, for crying out loud. Anyway, I'm going to delve into this, like I said, a lot more over the course of the weekend. Oh, look at this. Finally, Germany. Where's Thomas Friedman? Where's Thomas Friedman from the New York Times? Thomas, Germany sent 3 tanks over to the Ukraine. Oh my God. There's, it's like porn for Thomas Friedman, NATO, and meetings with leaders and Europeans and talks and Chardonnay sipping meetings. We were making fun of Thomas Friedman, his absolutely moronic op-ed talking about Biden's on things and Biden has brought NATO together. Bullshit. Oh, yeah, Germany was talking a big game and we're going to spend more. We're going to spend more on our NATO, what we're supposed to contribute to NATO, and we're going to help out the Ukraine. They sent 3 freaking tanks. They promised these tanks 3 months ago. 3 months ago, and now they're sending them over. This is what Germany does all the time. When they had the invasion of Crimea, Germany promised because they said, we can't send lethal aid. We'll send non-lethal aid. But for whatever reason, they couldn't find a way to get it there. So they asked the United States to take their non-lethal aid, blankets, pillows over to Crimea. I'm not kidding. I'm not. This is crap. It's crap. Again, what I saw this too is that Ukraine has put out a list of basically, in essence, persona non grata, people that they are accusing of spreading Russian propaganda. You know what's on that list? Tulsi Gabbard, Rand Paul, it was Glenn Greenwald. What? I get this from people out there too, that actually think that the Ukraine's going to win. Anyway, Hungarian prime minister. Now this guy they don't like him. Hungary's a member of the EU, but they don't like this guy. They don't like his view on immigration. He pushes back on a lot of EU directives. But anyway, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on Saturday called for peace talks between the United States and Russia to end the war in Ukraine and said the EU needs a new approach to the conflict. No shit. He's right. He's right. He's saying what all these other nations are afraid to say. A new strategy is needed, which should focus on peace negotiations instead of trying to win the war. Only talks between the United States and Russia can put an end to the conflict because Russia wants security guarantees that only Washington can give. In the months leading up to Russia's invasion of the Ukraine, the U.S. and Russia were engaged in talks on security proposals put forward by Moscow. Chief among Russia's demands was a guarantee that Ukraine would never join NATO, but the U.S. refused to make the promise, even though it was clear the alliance wouldn't admit them. Okay, again, do you understand how stupid this whole thing is? Orban went on as the EU approach the war has failed, as European governments are collapsing like dominoes. He's right. Boris Johnson out in the UK, Draghi out in Italy. The sanctions haven't worked. They've actually enriched Putin. Hungarian leader said he doesn't think Ukraine can win the war because the Russian army has asymmetrical dominance. The more the West sends advanced weapons, the more the war drags on. Yeah, we said that here too. We are sitting in a car that has a puncture in all four tires. It is absolutely clear that the war cannot be won this way. He's right. He's right. I mean, at some point in time, we're going to have to change direction here, kids. It is what it is. One quick story before we go here. We told you. Let's see, I told you so moment. Beijing is now starting to bail out its property market. I mean, that's a disaster. And central planning, it's great. Watchdog on wallstreet.com, watchdog on wallstreet.com. We'll see you.